Good afternoon once again for January 6, 2026. I have my dog Noodle as today's guest, and our devotional is God looks for clay. The verse is Jeremiah 18:6, and it says, House of Israel, can I not treat you as this potter treats his clay? This is the Lord's declaration. Just like clay in the potter's hand, so are you in my hand, house of Israel. And the devotional says, God knows how to bring salvation to your family, your friends, your community, and your world. Accordingly, he looks for those who will allow him to shape them into the instruments he requires to do his divine work. Clay has no plans of its own, no aspirations for service, nor reluctance to perform its given task. It is just clay, moldable, pliable, totally submissive to the will of its master. At times, we excitedly announce to God, I've discovered my strengths and gifts, and now I know how I can best serve you. At other times, we inform him, I am aware of what my weaknesses are, so I know which tasks I'm not capable of doing for you. Yet this is not characteristic of clay. God is not limited to working with our strengths. 2 Corinthians 12:9-10. And that says, But he said to me, My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is perfected in weakness. Therefore, I will most gladly boast all the more about my weaknesses, so that Christ's power may reside in me. So I take pleasure in weaknesses, insults, hardships, persecutions, and in difficulties, for the sake of Christ. For when I am weak, then I am strong. He can mold us into whatever kind of instrument he requires. When God's assignment demands humility, he finds a servant willing to be humbled. When his work requires zeal, he looks for someone he can fill it with his spirit. God uses only vessels, so he finds those who will allow him to remove their impurities. It is not a noble task being clay. There is no glamour to it, nothing boast-worthy, except that it is exactly what Almighty God is looking for. Compliant, moldable, yielding clay. If your tendency is to tell the Father what you can and cannot do for him, submit to his agenda and allow him to shape you into the person he wants you to be, like clay. So that is today's devotional. We are all clay, and God can work with our differences and all that, but in order for him to work, we must cast all of our cares aside and tell God to use us. And even then, what difference does it make? I mean, look at Moses. He had stage fright, and yet God worked with him through his brother. God worked through the apostles. God worked through the prophets. Everyone. No matter what happens and what our problems are, God can use those for the greater good. And by doing so, we are his instruments. We are made perfect. We are made when we are weak, we are made strong. So, yeah. Today's devotional is great for every day when we feel like not sharing the gospel and we are afraid that we're going to get criticized. Just look up 2 Corinthians 12:9-10. And there it says, when I am weak, then I am strong. Paul says that he takes pleasure in weaknesses, insults, hardships, persecutions, and in difficulties for the sake of Christ. We should do the same.